We got another victory yesterday, original creditor lawsuit. We helped our client win the case. Now, just to be clear, we're not about having people run out on their obligations with original creditors. But when the original creditor decides to sue an individual and is not willing to do anything to give any type of relief, not hearing any types of hardships, and they just go straight at trying to sue the individual, it opens up the doors for them to potentially be able to lose their case. And even original creditors, they hire debt collection attorneys to do these lawsuits. They're not using their big time attorneys that represent their corporations. So they're in essence using debt collection attorneys. These attorneys, let me just kind of tell you the story on how this works with these attorneys. These attorneys are selling themselves as, we're the big attorney in town. If you got people who owe you money, come to us. We'll represent you. We'll do all the paperwork. You don't have to worry about nothing. You just sit back and we're going to get your money. And here's the thing is that until we came around, and legitimately from my research, we're the only company nationwide that started helping people. Other than that, people would get attorneys, but those attorneys were pushing them into trying to do a settlement. And they didn't even try to fight the case. And from my research, this is not just things that I'm saying, they didn't know how to fight these cases. They had no interest in fighting the cases. What they had an interest in is either getting people to either file Chapter 7 or Chapter 13 bankruptcy, because that's where the money is for attorneys, or trying to get a settlement, because attorneys will get a percentage of that settlement. And not to say that that's not a legitimate service, I'm not saying that, but if you had an opportunity to fight the case, like walk it down step by step, would you rather do that because it could save you a lot of money in the end? But there was no one out there that was doing it. So I took a chance more than 5 years ago helping a few clients, and we were very successful, and we've been very successful over the last 5 years. As a matter of fact, we're the go-to company to help people when it comes to debt collection lawsuits, original creditor lawsuits, opening back up default judgments, and helping people who are being garnished. Like we are able to do that. So now let's talk about the consequences of not responding to a debt collector lawsuit, and then I'm going to get into how you can, number one, protect your money, protect your assets, and fight back against debt collector lawsuit. So if you don't respond to that summons, this is what's going to happen. And some of this stuff is guaranteed to happen depending on what state you live in. It really can depend on what steps the debt collection attorney is going to take to collect the money. If you don't respond to the debt collection lawsuit, you're going to get a default judgment entered. The court is going to automatically rule in favor of the debt collection attorney or original creditor debt collection attorney, because no evidence is needed for them because you didn't respond to it. So there's no defense that's put up, so it's by default. That's why they call it a default judgment. After they get the default judgment, they're going to come back around, depending on what state you live in, and they're going to go for a percentage of your paycheck with a garnishment. Most cases, it's going to be 25% of each paycheck. They don't do it on a monthly payment type deal. They're going to take it every paycheck. So you could end up paying the debt collector more, or the original creditor more per month than what you were paying for the debt that you already couldn't afford to pay. But they're going to have a forced court action to make you pay it, to take it out of your paycheck. And you know what ends up happening is when they're taking that garnishment that you wasn't able to pay before, now you can't pay other household necessities. So it's like a domino effect. It starts to just roll downhill against you. If you happen to live in a state like Texas where they can't garnish your wages, Guess what they do? They get a writ of garnishment. They send it to every bank in your city to find out what bank you're banking at, and they're going to seize your bank account. We had a client from Texas, and he was like, I don't even know how they found us. And I was like, look at your document. Your document says that they sent a court-ordered bank accounts garnishment notification to every bank in your area. And those banks, soon as they get that you think that they're going to sit there and not go with what a judge just ordered them to do? They would be in contempt of court. So they, if you bank at their bank, they're going to look at what accounts you have, and they're going to turn that money over to that debt collection attorney or that process server who's doing it for the attorney. And here's the crazy thing about it is that if you don't have enough money in there, they're going to leave it open so you get a direct deposit. Guess what? They're going to take that money right out of there. You could walk up to the counter and try to withdraw money out of your own account, and they will not allow you to draw money out of your own account. Now, there are remedies that you can utilize to get access to your funds to pay household necessities. We can help you with that. I don't have time in this video to go through it. So if you are in that situation, we can help you get your money back, get access to your money, though there are remedies to be able to do that. The next thing that they'll do is they'll put property liens on your property, liens on your house if you own your home, liens on anything that they feel of value. Now, in the past, a lot of people would say like, well, I have vehicles and stuff like that. They can't do anything on those because I owe money on them. That's what people would say. And then I had talked about a debt collection seminar or Zoom that they had online that I kind of snuck into, and this is what they were doing. They were like, well, if someone owns a piece of property, if they have a second home, you can't do nothing with your first home, but say you have a cabin up north or another piece of real estate that you own and it's not paid off, what they'll do is they'll send an investigator there, take the pictures, and then get an assessor to go see what it's worth. And if they feel that they could pay off that note that you have on that property, or even on the vehicle, they'll do this on the vehicle, they'll do it on the boat, they'll do it on the RV, they'll do it on anything. And if they pay it off and if it's something that they could resell, now they don't have to get it and then see if it's something of value to resell. Would they make money on it? Because you got companies like Carvana out there. You got all of these different companies that are willing to buy property. They're willing to buy homes. You hear the commercials all day talking about we buy houses. You got Carvana. You got CarMax that are buying cars, and there's other companies that aren't even predominant doing nationwide advertisement. You got jewelry companies saying that they'll buy jewelry. Like, it's just all of these buyers out there, so they don't even have to take possession of it. They just got to know what the item is, take some pictures, and then give it over to the company that's going to buy it from them. And if they feel that it's worth taking the risk on doing it, well, is there really any risk? Because that company will give them a note, or something, or a letter saying, hey, we're going to buy it for this amount. So all they're going to do is go seize the asset. They already had the court order, so they're going to go seize the asset, pay it off, and then they're going to resell it to the company or investor that said that they would pay them that certain amount and then take their difference. This is what they're doing. So we got to protect ourselves, because that's the types of stuff that they're doing. Now, the next thing that's going to happen is you're going to damage your credit. It's going to damage it even more, because now you're going to have a public record on there. I had a business associate who I had warned him about this. I said, you be careful. He was like, Steve, I got a business loan and it's in my business's name. And I said, if you go bad on that debt, what they're going to do is they're going to sue you and the business. They're not going to just sue the business. Well, guess what happened? They sued him and the business, and then they put the public record in his name on his credit reports. And so I was like, you got to watch out for that. That's what can happen. They never even reported a day of payment or anything on his personal credit. But when they got that judgment, guess what they did to hurt him? They put that judgment at public record on his credit report. So be careful. Even if you got a business loan and it's not even being reported on your credit, what they'll do is once they get that judgment, they're going to put that information on your public notice section of your credit reports. So it's going to damage your credit. The next thing is that if you allow them to continue with that default judgment, there are court fees and interest that are going to be added on that same individual that I just told you about. The debt was $35,000 and they ballooned it up with the interest and fees all the way to $55,000, and it's still growing to this day. So if this client doesn't decide to do anything about it, which I've advised him to, you need to go ahead and settle this because you're going to be able to move forward in the future. And also we're doing some things behind the scene to try to get that reversed. But if those actions don't work, it's going to have to be a settlement, and you have to move quickly on it because they're going to just continue adding up those fees, and they have up to 20 years to collect on that judgment. The next thing is that you lose your rights to negotiate. If you don't respond, you're actually putting yourself behind the 8 ball, and a lot of work has to be done just to clean up, because they're going to say you had a chance to respond and you never did want to respond. Also, it allows them to have more aggressive collection actions when they had that court order. That's the thing. When they have that judgment, it allows them to be more aggressive with what they're doing, not less aggressive. They're going to be able to have leverage against you. So even if you're trying to settle, they're going to be like, well, we could just go ahead and get it all because we had this judgment. So it makes them have leverage over you. And then the big deal about this is that you could actually have won a case and not have to pay anything towards it. That's the thing. So by you not responding. So those are the consequences of not responding. So now what we want to do is, if you ever been served court papers from a debt collector or original creditor, you are staring at a lawsuit and you don't know what to do, what to say, how to say it. You don't know what your next move should be. The first thing is, I don't want you to panic. In this video, what we're going to do is we're going to walk through exactly what you need to do if you're being sued by a debt collector or original creditor, step by step. So now, understanding the lawsuit, first, don't ignore the summons. You usually have a limited amount of days, either 20 to 30 days, to respond to the summons once you're served. Some states allow proof of service or attempted service. So you need to know your state laws on that. If you do not file an answer with the court will allow that collector to win by default. That means that they can legally garnish your wages, freeze your bank account, take assets. They could do all types of things. So the first step that I want you to do is I want you to check to see if the debt is actually yours. You still have to respond to it, but you need to do some homework to look at, is this debt actually something that you took part in? So debt collectors often sue for debts that are incorrect, that are either already paid, could have been in a bankruptcy, could have been past statute of limitations. You have a right to legally challenge the debt collection, but you need to understand what you're facing. So is it really your debt? Because it could be a debt that was legitimately not yours. Is a debt past the legal statute of limitations to even sue you? They could try to collect on a debt that's past the legal statute of limitations, but they have no legal remedy to take you to court. So you need to check your state laws to see if they have a legal remedy to collect on that debt. What I mean by that, let me define it. They could say, well, the debt is time barred, past statute of limitations. They're going to use the word time barred. And that means that it's past the legal statute of limitations to collect, but it could slip through the cracks and they could sue you. A lot of the debt collectors will do this because they're going to end up getting a default judgment. Why? Because most people don't respond. So, number one, check if the debt is legitimately yours. If it's not legitimately yours, you still got to respond to that debt collection summons, and you put in that defense that that debt is not yours. Next thing, if it's past statute of limitations, you would do the same thing, that it's past statute of limitations. If the debt is yours, then you need to respond accordingly and put to every allegation that's against you, and then put together a defense to win your case, because you want to challenge all of those documents, regardless if it's a debt collector who purchased your debt or the original creditor who hired a debt collection attorney to go out there and collect on that debt. Like I just mentioned earlier, we had a client that we helped and they were able to win their case. So now you got to answer all the allegations against you. On your court summons, it's going to have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are allegations against you, even though some of those might be as simple as you live in the county that you live in, because they have to sue you in the county that you live in. Unless it's a business debt, they can sue you from anywhere, any county, any state, anywhere. But if it's a personal debt, they must sue you in that county. So that's why it'll say, well, you live in that county, that's proper venue, this is your name. They might say that you are married or not married. Like, they're going to have all of these things in there. They're going to say that you unjustly enriched yourself by taking that money. They're not going to say that you went out and bought all these things, but they're going to use the word unjustly enriched. What they're basically saying is you took the money and you didn't want to pay it back, and you actually used the money to do a lot of things with that money. Now, if it's a credit card company, guess what? They're going to have information on what you actually went out and purchased. So that's why they're using that, but they won't put that in their summons complaint against you. They're just going to say unjustly enriched. Then they're going to have the amount and all of that stuff. Now, you have to put together a defense, number one, to answer those allegations, and then you got to put together a defense to challenge their case. It's always done different depending on the experience of the attorney, what type of debt collection company it is. Some of them have a lot of experience, some of them don't. Some of them fight harder, some of them are, put together their cases, it's like just a patchwork. Some of them use templates. You just never know. I'm going to make it easy for you. I'm going to make it very easy for you, because this could be very complicated. What I want you to do is I want you to get your documents together, put them in a PDF form. So the summons complaint, if they have a bill of sale, if it was sold to them, maybe they have 1 or 2 statements. Maybe they put 20 statements. You don't need all of those statements. What you need is the summons complaint and some of the bill of sale conformity documents, maybe about 10 documents at the most, but the complaint is the most important. And I want you to go to summonsmaster.com. Go to summonsmaster.com. I want you to upload your summons in the Summons Master. It's going to create a fully formatted response to every allegation against you and a defense to help you win your case. So go to summonsmaster.com to get that taken care of so you can fight back against debt collector lawsuits. If you have an original creditor lawsuit, I want you to still go to Summons Master, but I want you to contact us. We have an update coming very soon that will help you with original creditor lawsuits, a Summons Master version. Until then, what I want you to do is go to Summons Master and then go to the live chat and then upload your original creditor lawsuit. We'll let you know how much it'll cost for us to take care of that for you. And then we'll take care of that original creditor lawsuit for you and get it back over to you. But very soon, Summons Master will have a section. If you're getting sued by an original creditor, it will also take care of that for you. If you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, What Makes Us Different, so you can see my 8-point validation process, my 2-phase settlement process. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website your3scores.com to get your TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian credit reports and all 3 scores. If you have debt collectors coming after you, grab my 3-pack of letters, statute of limitations, debt validation, cease and desist, collection activities letter, or you can go to summersmaster.com and put your debt collection letter right in there so you don't mess up anything. It could be a PDF or a JPEG file or a PNG file. Put it in the Summers Master. Click the debt validation option. It'll create it for you. All you have to do is sign and date. It's going to scan that debt collection letter, and it's going to put together a debt validation according to what that debt collector did in their debt validation letter. Thank you for your time. Subscribe to the channel. Post your questions and comments. This is Stephen A. Williams, President, founder of the CreditRepairShop.com. Thank you for your time.